My thoughts on the PS Classic can be perfectly summarized in one sentence.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah. Alright, so I was playing Wargroove on the Nintendo Switch, which, not sponsored, but you should play because there's nothing else quite like Advance Wars for the Advance Wars orphans out there, and I want more people to play multiplayer with, so go check it out. Maybe I'll do a review here. Specific game reviews on this channel never did very well numbers-wise, but I might put one out. Anyway, I was playing Wargroove on my Nintendo Switch, and my girlfriend sent me this picture. This is a PlayStation Classic being sold in a Canadian Costco for $30. $30 Canadian. In real money, that's more like 20 or so. I don't know what's the currency exchange right now, but it's not much. And let me remind you, this thing came out 2 months ago to the day, December the 3rd. That's when this thing came out after being announced in September, just a few months before that. They didn't give us a lot of heads up, and it really seemed like they pushed this thing out as fast as they could. One of the reasons for its undoing. Now, I gotta preface this by saying that this is one specific Costco. This is not across the board. I'm seeing higher price points at other stores. But even saying that, I still think it's a reflection of how much value this thing lost in such a short period of time. 2 months to the day. So, what happened? Well, we've covered this here by now, right? So obviously there were a lot of problems. The fact that the games that came bundled with this system didn't get anybody that excited. There was a lot of bargain bin stuff, and yes, I did say that about Intelligent Cube, and I got eaten alive in the comments, so I'm sorry. Apparently it's a great game that has a bunch of diehard fans that I deeply offended, so I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was talking about, apparently. That's a common thing here in this channel. I apologize. Aside from Intelligent Cube, most of the games weren't really that exciting. They kind of gave us the only games that were worth playing when they first introduced the system, and they showed those 5 initial titles. So the games were not the strongest offering in the PS1 library. Then there's the issue that they bundled this thing with a lot of PAL games, and the theory that's going on in forums right now is the reason they did that is because those versions had more language options, which makes it easier to launch this thing worldwide, which again underscores how lazily they put this thing together, because PAL versions, yeah, it makes it easier to sell these in other markets other than English-speaking markets because you have other languages, but they run at a different frame rate, so it's a really janky experience right out of the box of a mainstream big company release like Sony. That's the kind of performance you expect out of some poorly put together emulating solution that somebody did in their spare time in their basement. You don't expect to buy a mainstream product and run into issues like that. That's not... Come on. Then, speaking of poorly thought out emulation solutions, it turns out that this thing was running an open source emulator, so it's not like they even put in the work of coding this. They just got something off the shelf, so to speak, off of the internet, and just put this thing together. It was so poorly made that if you were to connect a keyboard to the PlayStation Classic and hit escape in the main menu, you could actually access an area of the system on this thing that you're not supposed to be able to access. So this thing was just so poorly put together. It was so hastily thrown into the market. They obviously wanted to have this out in store shelves for the holidays. They overshot the holidays by a few months because this thing is everywhere. Have you been to a Walmart recently? A Best Buy? These things are not moving. This thing was just so poorly thought out. From the uninspired beginning, what with straight up ripping off Nintendo's thing, to the fact that the controller doesn't come with analogs, and yes, you can play most of pretty much the entire library except for Ape Escape without analogs. It's just not the greatest experience. We don't play games with D-pads anymore. Anybody who even wants to play these games probably has a way of playing these games already. And here's the thing, hackers came to the rescue, as they are wont to do, and they started working on this thing to allow people to put more than those 20 crappy games that they bundled the system with. And we all thought that this was going to be kind of like the PSP or the PS Vita, where the system itself might not sell for the games that you can play on it, but what with opening the door to emulation and things like that, this might be something that hackers, people who like to tinker with technology, maybe they will make this thing worthwhile. They've done done that before for other systems. And even with the hackers doing the work that Sony clearly didn't, they still couldn't salvage this train wreck. This kind of segues nicely into another video I made, you can check it out right there, where I wonder where this whole retro craze, this nostalgic cash grab we're seeing, where is this going to end? Because there are some companies that are pulling this off better than others. There are companies that are seeing the dollar signs and they're rushing to the market to put these things out and trying to pretty much do what everybody else is doing with very little regard for... Okay, the experience of playing PS1 games on the PlayStation Classic is so bad that that thing that I just tossed over my shoulder, the SNES Classic, that actually emulates PS1 games better than the PS1 Classic. And it lacks buttons. It doesn't even have R2 and L2. And even then, it makes it for a better PS1 playing experience. Sony, you guys done goofed terribly on this one. How do you feel about this? Is this a price point that you'd be willing to pick this up, even if just to have on your shelf? Would you rather put that same money towards some kind of RetroPie solution to play this, or even just to buy? Like, you can do better. You can do better by just... You buy one of these Bluetooth controllers, you put your Android phone, you download an emulator, and boom! There you go. This is a better PS1 Classic experience, and you can actually take this anywhere. So if you like portability, like it's my case, there's almost no point to buying a PS Classic. What do you think? I mean, it's a YouTube thing, okay? We gotta ask you what you think, because otherwise you were not gonna comment, and then there's no engagement for the video, and then I don't get paid, and then they cut my lights, and then they cut off the heating, and I don't know Fahrenheit, but it's minus 29 Celsius here right now, and it's cold as... Like, look at this Canadian shit right here. You see that? I need my heating. Even though I pretty much know how you feel about the situation, maybe you're going to surprise me. Is it worth it now to pick this thing up for $30, or is it still $30 too much? Let me know how you feel in the comments down below. If you like what I'm doing here, follow me on social media. I try to be very active over there, both Twitter and Instagram. I post a lot of pictures of my day-to-day behind-the-scenes stuff here. Like, I post pictures of my collections, I talk to you guys, I check out your stuff. Maybe if your stuff is cool, I'm gonna hit like on a bunch of your pictures too. Let me know where you guys are watching these videos from. This is something I always ask because I'm always fascinated to find out where you guys are watching my videos from. There's people watching my videos in places I would never imagine you'd be watching my stuff from. So that's cool. Oh hey, I almost forgot. 99 Vidas, my indie game based on my Brazilian gaming podcast of the same name, is now available on the Switch, which is my favorite way to play the game. 99 Vidas, which by the way means 99 lives in Portuguese, is a 16-bit inspired street brawler in the style of classics like Captain Commando or Streets of Rage. There are tons of unlockable characters, bonus levels, challenging boss fights, there's an online mode. We put a lot of thought and work into 99 Vidas, and I think you will find that it shows. I did my own voice acting and everything. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but the soundtrack on this thing alone is worth the price of admission in my opinion. Just like every other Switch fan out there, we hate the so-called Switch tax, where indie games land on the eShop with a higher price point than their Steam versions. So 99 Vidas is actually cheaper on the Switch than on Steam right now, only $10. And hey, don't just take my word for it, there's a demo for you to try it free. So go to the eShop right now and download 99 Vidas. Oh, and one more thing, as I'm sure some of you may have noticed, we're almost at 100,000 subscribers here on this channel. I'm so psyched that that many of you guys wanted to see more of what I do here. And I know that number of subscribers isn't really that important nowadays. The platform has changed so much that as far as metrics go, it's pretty much irrelevant, but it's still pretty cool to see that nice round number. They send you a plaque, right? Like I have this one from my Brazilian channel, and it's the old design, as you can see, and it would be super cool to have a new one for this channel here. And it's so hard these days to figure out what the all-knowing, all-powerful YouTube algorithm, it's so hard to figure out what it actually wants to get your videos actually seen by people. It's hard for a small YouTuber like myself to really figure out what he's supposed to be doing here. So I ask you, if you have a friend and you think that they would enjoy the kind of content that I create here, please share one of my videos with them. It would mean the world to me. And you might be wondering, well, what's in it for me? Well, here's the fun part. I'm partnering up with a DX Racer to give away a free chair to one of you lucky subscribers when we reach 100,000 subscribers. So I get a little plaque, one of you guys gets a cool chair. Everybody, I mean, 2 people win, but it's come on, help me out here. Come on. So please, this is my call to action. Send one of my videos to one of your friends. It helps out so very much. I don't want to rely on this faceless, unfeeling machine of an algorithm to actually get my stuff out there. I'm asking you, help me out. And that's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy, and I'm done.